You could wait one more month for the Black Friday deals. That is like your TLDW. Wait 1 month. So I wanted to address in this channel some of the options you have for your purchasing decisions in getting a MacBook. So going always from October, we're almost hitting November. The Black Friday deals are right around the corner, and I want to just lay out in terms of MacBook or like laptop buying decision guide. And so what I wanted to cover is just making sure that you don't regret your buying decision and covering my point of view on what would make a great purchase for the 2022 lineup. One of the first things to hit off is that there is a rumor that the new M2 Pro, M2 Max MacBook Pros will come out, the 14-inch and the 16-inch. There's been several talks that they're going to do just a soft launch in November. So one of the first decisions if you're up for buying a new MacBook at this point in time is to at least just wait until November at the very latest, because then you can see what the performance is from YouTubers or article writers on the performance of that. And then if not anything, you could get the Black Friday deals if you just hold out one more month. That would be my literally right now in October, the buying decision is just to literally wait. If you could hold out for one more month, that is the first factor that I would do if you're determining a MacBook or in the market for a laptop. So I have a Micro Center in my area, but one of the other options is just determining what deals are going on, because if there's a certain price range that you're looking for, I think the number one factors that people either get is they want all out in performance versus what price they're willing to pay for it. And with the M1 MacBook Air going all the way to the new M2 MacBook Air, and then also you have to consider the M1 Pros, there's some decisions you'll have to make in terms of how you want to make this decision. So if price is your number one factor, there are some things you could do, such as getting I think the best value, in my opinion, is the M1 MacBook Air, either at the base model, if you are just someone who needs to have a great performing laptop with great battery life, and then depending on if you want a little bit better specs, depending where you're at, you could either get the 16 gigabyte upgrade, which I do think is better than getting the 512 gigabyte update. So the reason for that is that the memory, if you're at 8 gigabytes, uses a lot of swap memory, which goes into the hard drive space, and that could affect a lot of like performance issues when utilizing that on your Mac. The other reason is that in my use case, and you have to see if this is your use case, a lot of things I store on the cloud, either through Google Drive, OneDrive, or iCloud Drive. And so basically, in my opinion, you don't really need too much stuff on your SSD, especially if you're just using this for work or some light gaming. You'll be better off getting 16 gigabytes RAM and having that help boost your performance. So with that being said, you'll probably get a M1 MacBook Air either at Micro Center, Best Buy, and that could range from the base model at $899 all the way up to $1,000. And depending on if that's your budget, the $1,000 ones could hit that sweet spot at having 16 gigabytes RAM. Anything above $1,000, in my opinion, the only other MacBook to get is the M1 Pro 14-inch. And so essentially what I did, some of my reviews on the M2 MacBook Air versus the M1 Pro, these are some things you're going to consider, because now they both have the upgraded webcam, they both have MagSafe, but the difference between the two is that one is that if you want to get 16 gigabytes RAM on the M2 MacBook Air, that bumps up your price almost to what now the MacBook Pro M1 14-inch version is at 16 gigabytes. So at $1,599, now that most retail is offering it at like $400 off, you're better off going with the M1 Pro, because you get the upgraded video cores, you get the 16 gigabytes RAM, the better refresh rate, and then it comes with also an extra USB-C, an HDMI, and an SD card. So I think in terms of just pure performance, in my opinion, where I'm coming from as a content creator and someone who does light gaming, the M2 Pro is just still not good at gaming from a Mac gaming perspective. You can check out the R Mac Gaming or several other YouTube channels. So R Mac Gaming is a Reddit channel. Well, in my opinion, when you're considering these M1 devices, they all scale linearly. So just the fact of the matter is that the M2 Pro only has 10 GPU cores. They're not super better or great or perform differently, drastically differently than the M1. So the factor just comes down to how many cores you have, and at 10 cores for graphics versus what you could get in the M1 Pro of 14 to 16, you basically get 4 more cores. So you should expect, that scale difference, right? It would probably be like 40% better at the M2 versus the M1 Pro, because you just have 4 more cores. So anything above $1,000, you're pretty much the best next option if you're not going to just do a pure lowest price, best value of the M1 Air, in my opinion, is going to be the M1 Pro. Now, you could argue that, hey, you need some lightweight device in the M2 MacBook Air versus the M1 Pro, but in my opinion, this is really up to you. That I would go to the store and check out the weight difference, because in my opinion, the difference there is not going to be too significant. It does feel lighter, of course, but you're sacrificing the 120 hertz refresh, the dedicated SD card, and then of course some of those cores. And I think that to wrap up this point, with a lot of people, the only difference that you're trading your dollars for in terms of getting a M2 MacBook Air is simply that it's a lighter device. I do not think that the performance is better, and so arguably, even to get to 16 gigabytes, you're in that same price range that you would have with the M1 Pro. That makes it just very challenging. If you can get this at Micro Center or Best Buy or wherever your nearest electronic store is, to utilize that offering, the $1,599 M1 Pro is probably the best overall bang for your buck, even better than the M1 16 gigabyte that you could probably get for $1,000, which means if you just spare a little bit more in your budget, this is the way to go. Lastly, I will say that, again, not plugged or sponsored by Micro Center, but there are some great deals going on there that if you're just looking for the best performing device you could get right now in a laptop, it depends. If you really need performance, and you might want to wait for the refresh of the Mac Pro. For some reason, there's a lot of people who like rumors. You can check out the R Apple or MacRumors.com, any of the Apple news sites. That's supposed to also be coming out soon. But if you want in a laptop form, I would recommend the M1 Max, fully spec'd out to the 32 core version. And I would also not get the 14-inch M1 Max because the 16-inch can provide better thermals and sustained performance. So overall, covering just what your options are, for most people, the M1 Pro is my go-to recommendation from what I've tested, what I've seen in other 14-inch devices. Of course, I just tested out the VivoBook, and then I've tested out the M2 MacBook Air. And so in my opinion, from a content creator, streamer, gamer, if those are the things that you do in life, let's say we're all working office, they can all do office, they can all do business stuff. But in particular, if you need to play a little bit of games or make some content or do some video editing, your best bets is the M1 Pro at $1,599. And then if you just need a capable machine that could also do all those things, but just not as good, the either base model $899 M1 MacBook Air, or bump up to 16 gigabytes if you can. You cannot go wrong, in my opinion, with those two devices. So basically $899 at the lowest end, that's a really great deal, or $1599 if you can get it. So hopefully this helps some people in their decisions. I know a lot of people, if you go to any YouTube channel, like just saw this new guy, 10 MacBook buying mistakes from Tech Gear Talk. People are saying, I've been thinking about getting a 14 base Pro, transitioning to work from home, and set up Go Lance. I think it should be more than sufficient. Yep, some people agreeing the M1 Pro. A lot of people recommend to avoid the 8GB version. I had the M1 MacBook Air 8GB version. That was the reviews I did over a year ago, and they were pretty great. This was one of the things on this guy's channel. 8GB, I agree. You could go get without 8GB, and the M1, M2 base models are still good. Again, 256, everything's on the cloud. I use Google Photos. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, if you don't need the best of the best, but still want a really great machine at $899, the M1 MacBook Air is really great. Yeah, some people have like storage and 64 gigabytes. I'm like, I don't know. I don't actually know. Like, I do Ableton, I do DaVinci Resolve, you can see here. Of course, on my Windows desktop machine. I can't really think of anything where most people who aren't getting paid to do their job, like probably just watching YouTube videos, you're testing out YouTube or testing out making Instagram. Even if you were a serious content creator, I don't see the need to get all like that stuff. Unless you're a data analyst and crunching numbers, you're gonna be using a NVIDIA card and not a MacBook if you're like really serious about time. So again, just quick outro on that, browsing some of the YouTube on what people are saying. Seriously guys, M1 Pro MacBook Pro 14-inch is probably the best bang you get. And pivvy that all up with all this recommendations. If you could wait one more month for the Black Friday deals, that is like your TLDW. Wait 1 month. So hope this style of video helps you guys outside of just doing tech reviews, helping people making purchasing decisions. Let me know in the comments below of your thoughts of what you're considering getting. And yeah, hope to see you guys either on my personal vlog channel or where I'm making music on Instagram, or if you just want to see me do tech talks and stuff of that nature. That's what the rest of this channel is about. See you around.